Hi, I'm Denise O'Malley, the founder of Unifying Wellness, and welcome to another How to Adult No Matter Your Age. Today, we are going to get your morning routines fired up, and joining me today is Megan Nolan with Yoga at My Desk. And Megan, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yes. I'm excited because you wanted to share ideas, tips, tricks on how to fire up your morning routine, get it revving and going. What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is starting your day with intention, because we all have a morning routine. But the question is, how meaningful is it? Whatever you're doing in the morning is your morning routine. Sometimes it's the, okay, got to get going, frantic, frazzled sort of energy. And what I would love to have people do is start your day feeling calm and grounded and centered and confident so that you can show up that way in your day. Rather than feeling like you're on a speeding train that won't stop, you are really intentional about how you're showing up for yourself first by clicking the most important box of all, taking care of you. So that's really the essence of a meaningful morning routine, and revving it up and getting you ready for the day.
Okay, this is a big subject because there's a lot of people out there. They've got little kids running around. They got to run to work. They've got bad weather that they've got to deal with, whatever it may be going on. You know, what is the first step to taking care of yourself?
Well, I like to say, as Stephen Covey also liked to say, we begin with the end in mind. So the first key element of a meaningful morning routine is expanding your vision. So I bet many people on here, whether you're watching at the beginning of the year, you're watching live, or in the next few days, have maybe set some intentions for the year. Maybe you're watching this, sometime in July, and you think, oh, yes, of course I did. Have I been putting them into practice? I don't know. So expanding the vision for what you see for yourself. So this is where you sit down and really tap into your goals, what you're bringing to life this year, and what that makes possible for you, what that makes possible for the people that you're serving. So you're really going beyond the actual realization of the goal itself to the impact that it's going to have on you, to connect to the version of you that's going to help you become. Because Jim Rohn said, achieving the goals isn't as important as the person that you become because of that. So connecting to that expanded vision of you, who is the you that's in your vision? How did they show up for themselves? That's the question to ask yourself, because when we get connected to that intention and that energy, then that really reminds you, okay, there are ways that you can do that. And yes, I totally hear you. You got little ones, you got kids, you got dogs, you got all the things. So really designing it in a way that works for you and for your schedule. It doesn't have to be a half an hour thing. It can be like a 2-minute thing if that's what you have, or just that couple standing in the mirror and brushing your teeth while you're looking yourself in the eye. You can make that into your morning routine if that's what you have available to you that day. Because sometimes people get caught up in, well, if it's not an hour, is it going to do anything for me? It really is that place of presence and starting from that place. So once you've expanded your vision and you realize, okay, who's the you that's in that vision? How do they show up? How do they feel? What are the emotions of your vision so that you can begin to connect to them now? What are the beliefs that version has of you, about you? What are the ways of being that they have practiced so much that they have become? And this is really important because it gives us that pathway into that evolution and that next level and that, new year, new you, best you, whatever, like all the cliches that we always hear. So really tapping into that you and really using that as the starting point. So that's the first key element. Do you have any questions about that one?
So it sounds like you're recommending that people take some time, maybe with a notepad or a journal, and to sit in someplace quiet and just really be thinking about this, whether it's while you're driving the car. Actually, I mean, I used to drive long distances and I called it windshield time, and I'd have the recorder going on my phone and I'd just be talking into it so that I could be getting my thoughts down. And it was my quiet time. I just turn off the stereo and go. But that's really, it sounds like the first step is to sit down and just kind of assess How do you feel about things?
Absolutely. And assess your goals,
Mhm.
whether that's for your health or your business or for your family, so that you have that as a North Star. Because that's the question for this first element is, where am I going?
Mhm.
And when we word it in such a way that is worded in the positive and present tense, so that once you know where you're going, what, imminent goal you're focusing on, that's what you will connect to every day. For example, I'm so grateful that it is January 26th and, you fill in the blank, whatever, date or destination you want to put in there, so that you have that in your mind's eye. There's a lot of neuroscience behind visualization, meditation, all of that, and really connecting to that in your brain, because when your brain sees something as unfamiliar and out of your comfort zone, it locks down what you do. It wants to know that it's safe for you to do those things. So you want to practice it over and over in your mind by
Mhm.
connecting to it, by stating it to yourself. And so you can weave that into what you're doing in your morning routine. So yes, sitting down, connecting to all that, spending some time with it, so you know what you're focusing on, you know where you're going. And then you know the energy of it, you know the beliefs, you know the ways of being, you know how that version of you shows up. And then the second key element is to begin to experience that now. So going back to the neuroscience of it, is that your brain doesn't know the difference between what you are physically experiencing in your 3D reality and what you're vividly imagining or visualizing in your mind. So once you've connected to that, where are you going? And now you know the second element is experience it now. So what you can do to begin to activate that within your body is remember times when you felt that certain way, whether it's positive or energized or clear-headed. Tap into that energy, and so that you've activated within your being. And this is where the movement practices come in. So maybe you like yoga, maybe you like working out, maybe you do dancing or walking your dog or playing with your kids or whatever it is, but do it with that intentionality of who you're being in that moment. So in yoga, we use a practice called Sankalpa, which is an intention, or often similar to an affirmation. So it's a power statement that you're using in your morning routine to begin to activate it within yourself. So not only just saying it with the clear intention, I am a purposeful powerhouse, I show up for myself every day, I'm focused on how I feel, whatever it is for you. We want to hear it in your mind, but feel it in your body. We're all energetic creatures. We want to activate that elevated emotional state. And this is where the movement comes in, because we're not designed to sit. Both of us are doing it right now. Your watchers are probably doing it as well, but we do far too much of it, and it's having an effect on our body. And so when you bring some movement into your morning, it revs up your inner fire, AKA your metabolism, AKA your brain, because you're moving oxygenated blood through your entire body, through your muscles, and you're getting your brain ready for the day. When we have movement in the morning, productivity increases throughout the entire day, as well as so does your mood, your focus, your creativity, your stress levels go down, inflammation goes down. All of those things are beautifully benefited when you have that piece of intentional movement and tapping into the energy of it. So that's the second pillar. And so the second question is, who am I being? So we have, where am I going and who am I being? So these are the two of the three questions.
Okay, so do you recommend that when somebody's asking these questions that they are actually moving, or is it better to stand in front of a mirror so that you're talking to yourself and giving those positive affirmations to yourself? How do you recommend somebody do it?
There's a lot of different ways that you can do it. It really is what you're actually going to do. So what is the easiest way for you to do that? Is it standing in front of the mirror while you're brushing your teeth, doing the mirror work, looking in your eyes and saying these things, asking yourself these questions? For me, I spend time in the morning journaling and doing different work with my journal. So I write it down. I'm a very, I like to record things. So I write them down, and some people prefer to just do it while they're moving, while they're walking the dog. So it really is just making that intentional window. So whatever you're going to do is awesome. That's really, that's the answer to the question I get a lot. Well, what's the best morning routine? Well, it's the one you're actually going to do. So let's
love
start
that. You're so actually right on that. So it's fantastic. Okay, so what's the third one?
Great question. So we know where we're going. We know who we get to be activating that energy. And then the third element is to exhale it into your life. So once you're in that tapped in present place, once you're in that energy of, okay, here I go, I'm going to go after it today, what are 3 action steps that you can take? So where am I going? Who am I being? What am I doing? Because we all have a mile long to-do list, and we know that those are, big things that we're kind of chipping away at. So what are the little pebbles? What are the little action steps that you can take? And this is where I do suggest writing this down, because when we record it and we actually do the physical action of crossing it off the list, checking it, then your brain has a release of dopamine, which is a highly motivational neurochemical, which, in everybody's terms, is something that spurs you into action. And so when you are, this is kind of like a little brain hack, is so you write it down and then you cross it off the list. Your brain's like, ooh, hey, we did something. What are we going to do now? Whereas if we look at a long list of things, we can go into that shutdown, overwhelm. I don't know what to do. I'm not going to do anything sort of mode. So taking those 3 little mini steps will kickstart you, rev your actions, rev up your energy, feeling like, okay, I'm making some progress here. So that is really the core elements of it. So yes, you can anchor that in with just the 3 questions. Or you can expand that into, if we go back to the first element, that can be visualization and meditation and breath work and gratitude work, whatever, because I have a lot of tools that I share with my community, but whatever you're going to do and whatever aligns with your values and your belief system. So when we expand the vision, that can be stretched out to however long, or we can shrink it down to that 1 question. And then to experience it now, that's where we integrate the movement. That's where we integrate your body, because working just on the level of the mind is very important, but that's rather superficial. We want to anchor it in somatically. We want to activate it in your being, your cells, so that you have that tool set to move from. So that's the, getting up and waking up your sleeping booty, and yes, that's a thing. We sit all the time. So it's totally a thing. So doing things that activate your core, energize your body. And then again, that's where you want to anchor it in with those power statements. So the affirmations, the intentions, and, that can be just standing tall and strong in front of the mirror while you're brushing your teeth, or that could be an hour-long yoga session or workout, right? So giving yourself the pillars of physical vitality so that you're keeping your body strong and healthy. And then the final one is rather short, because you're only thinking of 3 action steps, right? So that you can place that in your mind for the day. You can put it at the top of your to-do list, and then moving yourself forward, revving up your motivation by crossing them off the list, and then, continuing from there.
So these are things that could be really good to write down, those 3 things. Let's go over them again. The first one was?
The first element is to expand the vision.
Expand the vision. And then the second?
Experience it now.
Experience it now. And the third?
Exhale it into your life.
And exhale it into your life. So those are the 3 things that you can be doing literally every morning. And we're not talking about a whole lot of time. I mean, this is something that you could literally be doing in 5 minutes every morning.
100%. Or it could be 3 hours.
Yeah.
Really, you can stretch it out. You can condense it.
Exactly. The one thing that I hear the most from people is that, I just don't have time to integrate something new into my life. You know what? You can integrate it in while you're in the shower. Right. And so while you're doing the things you're already doing, is just take that first step and start expanding about who you want to be. And then who are you today? And then those 3 steps that you want. Okay. And I paraphrased everything that you said, but it really is not a major thing. And it's been proven time and time again that these steps work in changing everything about you. Now, I understand that also that if you do something consistently for like 21 days, 3 weeks, then it becomes habit. Is that something that you recommend to people?
Absolutely. Consistency is key. What happens in about 21 days is there's a shift in your brain. So we start to see kind of a falling away of the old neurons that are more aligned with the old self. And we start to see an activation of the new self that sees yourself as somebody that shows up for you every day, that exercises consistently, that, does mirror work or whatever it is that you're doing for this tool set. Yes, 21 days consistently, but also having grace and compassion. Especially because life happens, and for people with little people, that's a lot, right? But really just setting that intention of how are you going to show up for yourself? That's so important, right? We all have these lists we're working on. We're all checking all sorts of boxes, But the one box that really should be checked, ideally on a daily basis, is making and taking time for yourself, because it is ultimately, it's foundational. It's foundational for your health and your success. It's so essential. And if we don't, that's when we get to that point of, where I was just totally exhausted, completely burnt out, the epitome of what I call the worn out woman, that frantic and frazzled and like, on the verge of tears or screaming at any second, and really knowing like, okay, this is not going to work. And so either we take the action steps now, or we get so far down the track that we're kind of broken down and we're just burnt out that it's going to take a long time to come back. So rather than waiting, an ounce of prevention, we all know that saying, but like rather than waiting, why not start to integrate these tools on a daily or on a consistent basis, so that you're really nourishing yourself at the deep core level and showing up for yourself, the proverbial filling of the cup, if you will. So that I love the analogy that I believe it was Brene Brown brought forth, was that think of it rather than just a cup. Think of it like a tea cup on a saucer, and we fill up the teacup. And then we keep filling so much by doing the morning routines, by tapping into all the things that you love. We fill it up so much that the saucer's full, that we have overflow, right? We're not just giving and giving until we're completely drained.
I love it. And, for the person who's watching this, who says, oh, this just sounds too simple, and it's not going to work for me. My husband and I threw ourselves into the study of quantum physics a number of years ago, which this is kind of what you're talking about as well. And I'm going to tell you, it changed our lives. It changed our lives. We manifested a house when we were wanting to buy and just didn't have the funds to be able to put into a down payment. This kind of thinking changed our lives to where it actually manifested, and it happened. So, give it a try. I think it's wonderful ideas. Last minute thoughts that you want to throw in that we haven't covered yet.
Absolutely. So even when it's mapped out this easily, it can be really easy to get into what I call self-care overwhelm, in that we have all of these options out there, things that you want to integrate, things that you want to learn about. And we can get to that point of, I just can't seem to figure out how to make it work, or get into your groove with it, or have your brain, like you just said, the brain often will kick in when it starts to sense that you're on the edge of something really big and on the edge of challenging yourself. It's like, oh no, don't do that. That's not going to do anything for you. What are you doing? And so reining you back in. So I am actually doing a free workshop series starting January 16th to help you to learn how to cultivate calm on command, to learn how to create a meaningful morning routine, to activate the energy of the purposeful powerhouse that you truly are, so you can show up from that place every day. So it's a free workshop series, and it'll be happening January 16th, 18th, and 20th at 2 p.m. Eastern. There will be replays for everybody that's not able to make it live. So we'll share the link for that. And for those of you lovely beings that are watching this in the future, you can either pop me a question or a comment in the chat here, and I will definitely send out, because I have lots of other tools and resources, and I will be doing this workshop again. So you can just go ahead and get signed up for the workshop, and then we'll be connected through my community. So you can either reach out to me directly if you're watching this later on in the year, or you can sign up for that workshop and you will get future updates. But I would love to have you all join me. For those of you that are watching this in January, then that's happening starting on the 16th.
And those are wonderful. I know you did something in the month of December that was, how many days did you do that? 18 days?
We did the 12 days of power pause.
Okay, the 12 days. And they, I wasn't able to join every single one of them, but you are so heart-centered when you are putting that out there. And it just felt like I was embraced in a hug. In being a part of the days that I was able to join. So if for those of you who are sitting on the fence about joining one of her workshops, you got to go check this girl out. So Megan, thank you very much for joining us for this How to Adult No Matter Your Age, on talking about how to rev up your morning routine. We appreciate you. And for all of you who are watching, check out our calendar at youdefinewellness.com. You will find the replays for those that we're doing in the month of January. And we are doing more. This is